It's all finished. It all ended last week, and now we don't know how to move on. If you're like me, you've been spending the last 4 weeks watching When Life Gives You Tangerine, and now you're like, what the hell do I do on Friday? When Life Gives You Tangerines ended on last Friday with 16 episodes and one of the highest ranking on IMDb at 9.4 out of 10. That is a record high for any K drama on IMDb. That's crazy to me. Hi everyone, my name's Nivi. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really appreciate you. I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about When Life Gives You Tangerine, its ending, what we expected, what I predicted, and if it aligned with the ending. And I also want to go through what actually ends up happening. So stay tuned. But before we begin, thank you so much for being here. If you like this video, please make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I hope to see you for the next one as well. Thank you. So my first prediction was that the son is definitely going to get into fight with the parents. Let's see. I really am thinking that the son of Aesun and Kwang-suk are going to have some sort of disagreement, like a blowout. It's been increasing and increasing in the last few episodes, and it's just going to blow out in the last episode. Welcome back. So I obviously, it was kind of building throughout the whole series. He's been the number two for a very long time. And in the ending, you see him get arrested by the police officers because his partner that he was in partnership with was the pawn shop owner and kind of shady. His parents told him not to do it. He still ends up doing it, ends up in jail. And then surprise, surprise, the father, the very beloved, always the person that takes care of the family, ends up selling his boat to get his son out of jail. Like, come on. We knew that was going to happen. And it's his beloved boat that he's had for 20 years. That is awful. And then he finally gets the son out of jail. The son is, he doesn't even know how to say thank you, I feel like. But then he starts to turn things around a little bit. He's selling, like, for God's sake, sweet cakes in the middle of the night, and the father's trying to help him make sure that he's on the right path as well. And then as time goes on, he starts to realize all the things that his father has done for him. The things that continues to happen throughout the show is he feels like he's second best to his older sister, but he's also in the shadow of his past younger brother who has passed away. His birthday is like a few days right after the son dies, so there's always this dark shadow that happens around that time. But then you see in one of the videos, one of the past scenes, that his father used to take him for like jjajangmyeon and to buy him a toy, and he's like, just between the two of us, let's keep it in between us. He's always been his number one, like no doubt about it. They might have he might have seen it as a second treatment, but they've always treated him really well. I do understand where he's coming from. It does sometimes feel like because he causes so much trouble, he's the one that gets a lot of the attention, and the negative attention, and sometimes it feels like he isn't seen in a positive light. Moving on to number two. This is the second prediction I had. Myung, the daughter, and the painter, played by Kim Seon-woo, I think, are definitely going to end up together. Welcome back. So my second prediction was that Gwon-myung, who is the daughter of Aesun and Gwang-suk, who's like the main characters, and then their daughter, was going to marry the painter. So if you go back, she was initially supposed to marry this very wealthy guy. They had been together for 7 years, I believe, and then they broke up because the families didn't align. His mother kind of hated her. Eventually, you see her trying to develop a friendship between the painter and her, and this is when she's still with her ex-boyfriend, but they also have like this very friendship, mutual respect dynamic, no romantic relationships. And then in this installment, the last 4 episodes, you see the painter come back from the army. He's a different guy. He's a academic professor of some sort in an academic university. And then you see him chasing Gwamyong, and he's like, it's just, I need to get the timing right. And he keeps trying to chase her and find her. He misses her on the first bus and then misses her in the theater. So he goes to the theater that they both worked at every single day for like weeks and weeks. And that was just so sweet. He's like, I just knew that one day you were going to come back and I was going to get to see you. And in one of these scenes, they're both in the same theater, but they're only a few seats apart, as you know, in K-dramas. They're only a few seats apart, and he still misses her. As he's going out, she leaves, he's coming out of the theater, and the owner of the theater is like, did you see her? Did you meet her? And he's like, "Ah, come on, you still didn't meet her?" And then he realizes she was just here, and he runs out of the theater and is trying to chase her to the bus and almost loses his breath basically. And then there's this cutscene of Kwon Myung being like, he knew if he didn't get her at this third time, they probably wouldn't meet. So he puts it all his all into chasing her. Eventually the bus stops and he's like, couldn't and the bus driver's like, couldn't you have gotten the next bus? And then he finally sits down in front of her and she's like sleeping. And then when she wakes up, he's like right there. And it's like one of my favorite scenes. I kind of already know what's going to happen just because he saw her. And it was just so cute. So what does end up happening? Obviously they fall in love. Like, come on. It was inevitable. And they're like, so you're single? And he's like, you're single too? And he's like, finally! My God. It's like when they finally got the timing right. They go out, they date like adults, they see each other's insecurities and the things that like bring them together. She eventually takes him home, and this was one of the things that I was super excited for. He meets the father, and naturally, initially, the father is definitely like ragging, and he's like, What are you? Are you even a man? You can't even sit in a boat." Because the next scene is him basically heaving his guts out on the sea, and he's just like, I'm good, father. It's okay. I'm good. I'm fine." And the thing that really sets the tone for the father really is that even though the painter is I gotta stop saying the painter, um, Chunsob, is still like throwing up in the boat. The daughter comes in and she's like, "I'm going to use the restroom," and he goes and follows her. And the father's like, "What? You can't leave her alone? You can't even leave her alone for a minute? What do you think is going to happen?" And he's like, I'm going," and he's green at this time and just not looking so great. I'm just going to go and make sure she doesn't fall. And I think that's kind of the perfect moment when the father realizes how much the guy loves him. And I think that's kind of, you see his the ice heart melting basically towards him. And then in the next time, he can't hold his liquor and he doesn't know what to do. And the daughter's like, "Look, if my father says no, it's a no-go. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. No, if my father says no, no wedding bells." And the next thing you see him do this.
어머니! 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 제가 새우를 좀 까드려 볼까요?
I love that the father loves him. Of course he loves him. How could he not? Lo and behold, they get married, obviously, and live happily ever after. She ends up quitting her job because she wants to pursue something better. She's already having a hard time and doesn't like her job anyway, but she wants to create more things. And she has this wonderful idea. Hey, how about we create online classes? So she goes to a professor that does lectures, and then it becomes this huge thing. She becomes super prominent, and then gives speeches around the world as well. And she credits all of her ideas to her mom, but also her hard work and determination to her dad. And that was amazing to see. And they obviously end up having a child together, and just one, which is for her more than enough. And then she starts to understand what her mom must have gone through, because at this point I think she's at least like in her early 30s. And then she realizes, oh my God, my mom was like only 18. How the heck did she give birth to a child at 18 and deal with all of this stress at 18? And obviously at that time the mother rolls in and she's like, "No, my daughter." It's all a happy ending on that part. Number 3 and 4 kind of tie in together, but let's go with number 3 first. Aesun becomes a poet. Her daughter had, well, to start off with, she had always wanted to be a poet. And Gwang-suk, her husband, was like, you know, one day you will be a great, great poet. I just know it. And she starts writing poems, and she does win a contest initially in the first few, well, the last few episodes, but the main thing that happens is that her book gets published. She dedicates it to her husband, who was like the wonderful love of her life. And the person that publishes her poem is actually her kind of her reincarnated mother. She's the publisher. She doesn't really get to meet the Aesun, but the book is sent to her. It's published. It does become popular. And I love that the reincarnation of the mom is actually, the mom is the publisher of the book, basically. It's all full circle. Not only does she become a publisher, but if you go back to, I think, episode 1, her mom's big desire for Aesun was that she would have a comfy job as a teacher and be able to sit and just teach. And then in the last episode, you see her being a teacher of some sort for the elderly. She's teaching the elderly how to read and write. And one of her students is an elderly woman that says, "Hey, I got to go to a restaurant with my son and daughter-in-law and order my own food looking at the menu." And that was a great accomplishment for her. I love that she's a poet, but also a teacher, kind of like everything she wanted to accomplish. Basically saying it's never too late. And last but not the least, this was the most heartbreaking prediction I had. Take a look. One of the main things that we learned throughout the show is that the dad is getting sick. If you remember, in one of the scenes, he's getting, I think, some sort of procedure that's happening. I just have a feeling he's going to get sick. He is too loved to not be sick. I just feel like something's gonna happen and he will pass away. And it happens. It's a very bittersweet ending. Gwang-suk, ends up being diagnosed with advanced rheumatoid arthritis. And with that, it also progresses to other things as well, where he has kidney failure and goes through chemo and cancer and all of these things. Then eventually, as time goes on, he's just like, I can't do it anymore. Unfortunately, he passes away, and it's such a sad moment. I'm still like really upset about it, but it kind of makes sense as well, especially as how the stories go. You have this wonderful, amazing character, you love him, and he's very endearing. And then as time goes on, and eventually, even in his almost near death, all he cares about is Aesun and his family. Because the last day he's at the hospital, he asks Aesun to go home and rest, and then asks the daughter to stay, and asks their daughter that, hey, you need to take care of your mother. Like, she needs you. You need to be nicer to her because she's not going to have anyone. I don't want her struggling. And he feels sorry that he's leaving this burden for his eldest daughter. And I thought that was amazing. Kind of shows how much, even in everything that has gone through in his life, the main focus has always been Aesun. Like, I think the daughter mentions this. She's like, you keep saying I'm his number one all my life. But you know what? You're the number 0. Between the two of us, if we had a fight, you will always be the one he sides with. And it's said in a very like sweet way, no matter what, that you're the one that he will always pick. After the hospital night, he ends up coming home to his own apartment. His kids are waiting for him there. The son sees him and he just breaks down and he's like, I don't know how this is happening. He's passing away and he's just so weak and just awful. Before he passes away, he sees Gwamyong's speech on television mentioning him and his wife and the dedication they had towards her and hard work. It kind of feels like it's been paid off. So in conclusion, he passes away. Aesun becomes a poet and a teacher, and Gwamyong becomes this big CEO for the entire online lecturing company that she has. The son runs the restaurant that Gwang-suk and leaves behind, as Jeju Island is becoming more of a more prominent touristy area. Remember the politician? You realize the politician's wife was the one that was also going dancing in clubs when they first started opening in those decades. He knew all about it. Turns out he knew all about it. And he just hit it. He's like, whatever, I'm not gonna say anything. I didn't expect that considering he's supposed to be the one like main villain almost, but he's obviously misunderstood. His wife initially, in their gray age, asks for a divorce as the gray age divorce rate is increasing. So is theirs as well. So she asks him for a divorce. She becomes a realtor, asks for a divorce, and she's like, "I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore." And he tries to be like, "No, no, no. Okay, you caught me. That's fine. You know, I'll be a better husband." She's like, "No, I don't want to do this anymore. You thought that you could tie me here like a dog and then go around everywhere you wanted and then come back, and you think I'll be okay with this? No." So she divorces him. He realizes how much he liked her, obviously. And then as time goes on, you start to realize he actually had a really big part in the son, who is now his son-in-law, of Aesun and Gwangsuk, how much he helped the son. He's like, okay, well, he was the one that was responsible for clearing the son's name. He's the one that bribes the police officer to catch the real culprit. So in all, it means like he's not really like the worst guy. He just is very prickly. He's still not my favorite, but I like that they kind of wrap that up, that he's not all bad. And eventually, him and his ex-wife go on a date. I think the ending theme basically for When Life Gives You Tangerine is life is very fleeting. There will be ups and downs, and that's okay. Just take your shot when you have it. Try to go for the things that you want. Try to aim for the things you want, and everything will come back in place. I really love that. And life is fleeting, so cherish it when you have it. There you have it. That's the short and sweet ending of When Life Gives You Tangerines. I honestly, this TV show was such a roller coaster, but I'm so excited and so happy that I watched it. It was still worth the time and effort. I would give this a 9 out of 10. It's perhaps one of the best shows I've watched. Like I said, it's up there with, for me, with like My Mister or Reply 1988, which again, Park Bogum was in as well. So it's up there. As far as the ending goes, I think it worked out okay. It worked out well. I kind of thought this is where it was going to end. Um, there's just they needed to have a more realistic approach throughout this series. You see it's very realistic. They have a lot of ups and downs and all of these things, but eventually they still come out on the other side, and it's wonderful in many, many ways. Overall, I think, again, like I said, it was a 9 out of 10. It's a great show to watch. If you haven't watched it, I highly recommend it. Now that it's finally over, I know a lot of people like to binge watch. Normally, I would do the same, but it was Park Bogum and IU, and how could I not watch as they're coming out? As far as the performances for the actors go, I think they all just blanketly did amazing. Everyone was so good. There wasn't anyone that I thought wasn't good in their performance. I feel like they chose actors that are really good at acting, or the story was just that amazing that how could you not like it? But the ones that really stood out to me was IU and Park Bogum, obviously. I was actually really surprised that he didn't have more of a bigger role. I understand that as they get older, they're gonna obviously change the actor. The person that plays the elder, Kwang Suk, is also really good. I was really surprised by how much I liked him. I hadn't really seen him in anything else, so I was a little skeptical because Park Bogum was already so good. I was skeptical if they would be as good as well, but they were phenomenal. I was really happy with the character like trajectory of him being younger to older. They did a really good job still portraying how he was younger and older both. And then as far as IU go, obviously she was playing the younger Aesun, but also the daughter Gwangmyong. They again both were really good, but I really liked Aesun as well. And honestly, the older Aesun, I was afraid considering again how much I really liked IU. I was surprised by how much I actually later on, at least in the second the not second, the last installment of the 4 episodes from episode 13 to 16, Aesun, the person who was playing the older Aesun, did a really good job. I was really impressed by that. And there you have it. That's a really quick ending to an amazing, amazing show. I hope you enjoyed this. If there's anything I missed that you really enjoyed in the ending, please comment below and let me know what you thought. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to see you for the next one. Thank you so much. My name's Navi.